Hey friends, it's Tyler Jorgensen, and I'm here with Graham Lightner, and I'm excited because we're going to talk with Graham a little bit about his journey and how he got here, how you got here, how this all exists, and his favorite color. It's going to be a great ride. What's up, Graham? How's your day going?
You know, it's pretty good. We just moved back from time in Costa Rica, extended time in Costa Rica, and it stays so much lighter there than it does here. And I'm still very confused by the fact that it's 4:45 and dark, and I'm not loving it.
Yeah, no, it's a weird time of year for if you're in this kind of time zone, I guess, where it just gets dark early and it feels like you're supposed to be asleep half the day.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So for people that don't know who you are, you're the COO of BAM and of which, is the parent company of HL Pro Tools, which most people here are know about. And, you're in our members only area. How did you get here? Like, let's go back a little bit, right? How did this happen?
That is, there's a lot of intricacies to that story, but kind of the short nature of it is like, I love operations. I love team building. I love team management. I love seeing an idea to fruition and to completion, and then even to like tweaking it as it's going to make it better and better. And so I think that was just a natural fit early on, and that led to really good just synergies between Matt and I, and a growing team as we strove to implement and continue to implement increasingly more and more value for the people around us.
Yeah, awesome. Now, what was your background? Wasn't necessarily operations, but it was in something that requires a lot of integration, implementation, attention to detail.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your background and your professional experience.
Yeah, I lived in the fun world of public accounting. And so anybody out there that is potentially a CPA or has been through public accounting, there's whole, Reddit subcultures just making fun of that profession. Anyways, I actually loved it. I truly did. I loved being a CPA. I loved even studying for my CPA exams. I'm kind of weird like that. And it was a big jump over into the digital marketing world about 4 years ago. But being a CPA and managing teams, so I was on, without getting too much down a boring accounting rabbit hole, I managed multiple teams at a time that were each performing financial statement audits for big companies to basically prove to investors, hey, the numbers that they say on their financial statements are correct. So we were like the protector of the free markets, right? That's not that cool. Anyways, that experience of managing multiple teams at one time really fed well into any sort of company, because a company hierarchy, a company structure should really be broken down into, basically at the top you have your C-suite, right? And they kind of are pouring into and managing, let's say, your directors or your vice presidents, and then they are in turn, pouring into and managing kind of that middle manager position. And then those folks are really, let's say they are pouring into and managing like team leads, who are then pouring into and managing, kind of maybe more like your base level employees and staff. And so that fed really well into that hierarchy and allowed us to really build out a team that has that well-formed organizational structure that allows us to thrive, but at the same time not be busy. I see with a lot of folks, they end up being one managing 40 or two managing 40, 50, 60, whatever it is. And having those layers of management really allows everybody to get the time from their direct report, that time and that investment and that appropriate kind of management culture.
Yeah, and that's it. So you brought up kind of some things that you see that are working or aren't working. With HL Pro Tools, obviously, there's a lot of other companies that work with HL Pro Tools, and a lot of the people in this group are growing. What are some lessons that you guys have learned and implemented into operations that other people can learn from?
Yeah, so I think lesson number one, which I kind of learned begrudgingly, is, and you do see this, you have to focus on lead gen and sales before you get to focus on operations. It just is the true nature of business. Focus on lead gen and sales before you focus on operations. And you'll hear other folks talk about this as well, as you can only really have one bottleneck at a time. If you think about like a hose with water running through it, and you were to pinch the hose here and pinch the hose here, one of those is going to be a tighter pinch than the other. You have to work on the pinch that is not only the tightest, but is also at the closest to the source of the flow. And so that is like you get the privilege of fulfilling and of doing operations and of building a team if you have a strong lead gen and sales process. So that's where you want to focus your time.
I love that hose analogy. I think that's really good. And I hope that people really got it and listened to that, because man, too many times we see people think, well, I'm not going to launch my offer yet because, and they list out all these operational things. I'm like, that doesn't matter because you don't have a single customer to deal with that.
That's right.
So if you can't ever sell, that operational issue doesn't exist, right? It's that second pinch in the hose.
Yeah. And there's definitely a balance there, Tyler. Sure. It is, and we see that in our companies. We see that in other folks' companies. It's okay to really focus on sales and lead gen and improve out the product, and then to spend time on operations and kind of slow down that sales and lead gen pipeline. Like that's okay, and that's actually the appropriate way to go about it. Is to go about.
Well, and that's what happens when you've solved the first pinch. Now you might have to taper that second. Yeah, taper the speed a little bit.
That's right.
That's different than a bottleneck or ignoring something.
Yeah, it's purposeful, right? Like a bottleneck is not purposeful. It's something that you need to address and fix and open up. But you can actually put a false bottleneck on there to allow things further down to kind of get into shape, so that when you do open up the floodgates now. But you need to have some kind of flow, right? If there's nothing moving through the hose, it doesn't matter how good everything else down the line is.
Totally. Now, a lot of people here in the members only area and in this Facebook group, there's a lot of the entrepreneurial personality types. There's a lot of people that are the visionaries, but hopefully there's more and more people in here that are the operators, administrators, integrators of the business. Yeah. What's one piece of advice you have for those people who are operating in that capacity, and maybe how they integrate or how they work with the visionaries of the business?
Yeah. Well, one, I would say if you are a visionary and you don't have an operator or an integrator, go get one. If you are an operator and an integrator and you don't have a visionary, you don't have a salesperson, you don't have not a salesperson, but just somebody really driving that lead gen and sales piece of it, go get one. Like that is, and so actually we're going to be in Dallas this weekend with our SaaS insiders. And that is something that we are teaching and coaching on, because we see that like folks that are running, multi-million-dollar businesses that don't have the appropriate partnership structure to continue to grow in a robust way. But also then folks starting at the very beginning, wanting to figure out like, well, how do I'm good at this, but I'm not good at everything, right? Nobody is good at everything. So my advice is don't work on improving your weaknesses. Find somebody who covers your weaknesses with their strengths, because you will see this time and time again. Don't get me wrong, it's good to work on your weaknesses. It's not a bad thing. But if that's all you do, you're gonna face burnout, because it's not life-giving to work on your weaknesses. It's fun to see improvement, but like think about the things where you like lose track of time, where you're so invested and you're enjoying it so much. For me, it's building out like ridiculously long, complicated zaps. For whatever reason, I love that. Like I love it. I love automating every piece of our business that we can automate, and then really plugging in people to the points that matter and deliver tons and tons of value. So I tried. You ask Matt. The next time you get to talk to Matt, come to SaaS Launch Live, talk to Matt and say, hey, was Graham ever good at sales? No. The answer is absolutely not. And did we try? Sure, we tried. And it was, I won't say it's wasted time. I learned a lot through it. But am I taking sales calls? No, I'm focusing in on my strengths. And so that actually, not even to just the operators and integrators in the room, but to anybody, is surround yourself with people whose strengths cover your weaknesses, and you will start to see things take off.
That's huge. Really, really solid advice. I think you casually mentioned SaaS Launch Live is coming up in February 2nd in Newport Beach, California.
Yeah.
Huge opportunity to come meet the team, meet other, SaaSpreneurs. You got to be there. SaaSLaunchLive.com. Hurry. I don't know. There's your urgency.
Yeah.
I'm not
There are
I'm not
limited
selling on
spots.
this one.
Unfortunately, the hotel has limited us. So
Yeah, there is a limited amount of space.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you watch this part of the video, that's your call to action is go
That's
to
right.
SaaS Launch Live.
That's
Check
right.
that out because eventually those tickets will be sold out and you'll be super sad you didn't make it. Well, cool. I think this is a great intro. What I would love, anybody watching this in the members area, let us know what type of operational or administrative type things you would like to know and get insights from.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing more content here around that. And so we'd love to know insights of what you're looking for and be able to help you. But we'll be doing more and more content like this with Graham and bringing all of his experience to help you in your businesses to grow and to stay. I love that part. Stay in the things that you can thrive in and the things where you lose track of time. I love that. Graham, any kind of signing off moments or words that we need everyone to hear?
I think the take home always, whether you are thriving or you are trying to get something up and running, is take imperfect action. I really look back on the journey across all of our businesses, and they have thrived because of imperfect action and the willingness to move into the unknown without having all of the answers, but knowing that you are very, very, very committed to getting all of the answers.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks so much, Graham. All of our members here, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We're excited that you're here, and we'll see you next time.
Cool.